Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 on Channels Television, coming to you live from Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari meets with the Archbishop of Canterbury in London, says he declared his intention to seek re-election in 2019 to end speculation. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu rules out electronic voting for the 2019 elections. Presidential Anti-Corruption Team Chairman Professor Sage demands explanation for 36 million naira jam funds allegedly swallowed by a snake. An Algerian military plane crashes, killing all 257 passengers on board. Now, channelstv.com has more information for you, and on youtube.com/channelsweb, you can watch our videos. You can also watch us on your mobile device via your browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app has an eyewitness feature that you can use to share pictures, videos or news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu, and then follow the instructions. The Inspector General of Police, Ibrahim Idris, has inaugurated a mobile police squadron unit in Takum area of Taraba State. The measure is part of efforts by the federal government to end the ongoing clashes between farmers and herdsmen in the north-central region. Mr. Idris had earlier announced the deployment of 3 additional units of mobile police force and a donation of 1 helicopter to the state government for aerial surveillance.
I made a commitment to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Taraba State, Architect Darius Ishaku, based on his appeal for the establishment of a new squadron in the state. This historic ceremony being witnessed today is a fulfillment to that promise. The motive behind this establishment is to add to the existing security architecture in Taraba State. The police force will enhance police visibility, effective and prompt attention to crisis areas, and access to locations bedeviled with communal unrest and other crimes in Taraba State.
Meanwhile, 4 persons have been confirmed killed in an attack on Beji community of Ortom local government area of Benue State by suspected armed herdsmen. The Commissioner of Police in the state, Mr. Fatai Owusheni, who confirmed the early morning attack to Channels Television, says policemen have been deployed to the area to restore peace. And worried by the persistent attacks, Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State has challenged the people of Adaka and Anagi communities in Gwa West Local Council to defend their ancestral homes instead of seeking refuge elsewhere.
Communities along the Makurdi-Naka Road connecting Ankpa in Kogi State staged a peaceful protest on Tuesday, with Governor Samuel Ortom's convoy besieged by protesters asking for an end to the herdsmen killings. After addressing the protesters at Adaka, the governor moved to Naka town to meet with survivors of last weekend's killings of 24 persons. Some of the survivors of the attacks on Nagi, Adaka and Enga tell Channels Television how it all happened, leaving over 20,000 natives displaced.
They killed about 22 people. The number of people displaced are over 20,000 people, and nobody is from the community.
More than 30 people killed by the Fulani herdsmen. There was no reason whatsoever for him to come and attack the people who have not had any problem with them. And a lot of people are displaced from Nagi, Engi, Segudu, and most of the surrounding villages have all fled to Naka. They are making so much pressure on the people who are in Naka.
The host community leaders asked the federal government to support the implementation of the anti-grazing law and end the circle of killings.
Life in those communities has been reduced to nil. People are really displaced and are suffering. I wonder what will happen during this next farming season. Federal government should support Benue State government in enforcing the implementation of the anti-open grazing law. That's the only solution to this problem.
Governor Samuel Ortom challenged the youth to draw inspiration from the story of David against his adversaries and defend their homes.
Rise up to support them, to help them. I know as a scholar of the Bible, David, as a young man, killed and slaughtered Goliath with just stone. There are stones all over the place. He used to do the same thing and support the security men. It is not enough to just run away. You must stay to defend your land.
Several homes along the Makadi-Naka Federal Highway leading to Ankpa in Kogi State have been deserted by community members for fear of attacks by the herdsmen who continue to graze in the area.
Well, from there, let's cross over to Abuja. Here's Gloria Umezuke. Gloria.
Hello, Ijoma.
Hey.
The Federal Executive Council has approved contracts worth 47 billion naira for road projects in the country, including the redesign and reconstruction of the Aba-Port Harcourt section of the Enugu-Port Harcourt Expressway. Briefing State House correspondents after the weekly Federal Executive Council meeting, which lasted for over 7 hours. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, said the contract, awarded at the cost of 6.3 billion naira, is for the section that has persistently failed as a result of regular storm waters and high water level of the area. Meanwhile, the council approved the establishment of the Nigeria Army University in Benue, Borno State.
Executive Council has approved the Ministry of Education memo for the establishment of a Nigerian Army University in Benue, Borno State. And it is our hope that it will be the hub for developing a Nigerian industrial military complex. It will be a very great university.
The section 4 of the Enugu-Port Harcourt road, the part between Aba and Port Harcourt, particularly in Port Harcourt, that has been problematic. It has failed severally. We have a contractor there, but we needed to change the design because of the stormwater drainage needs and the high water table there, so that the road does not fail. So that required a revision of the scope of works for retaining wall, new side lanes, and also drainage facilities in the sum of 6.309 billion. So those are the approvals that Council gave for the Ministry of Power, Works and Housing today.
Well, the Senate and House of Representatives have held valedictory sessions to honor 2 serving federal lawmakers who died recently. The late Deputy Minority Leader, Buba Jubril, died on March 30th, while late Senator Buka Mustafa died on April the 4th. Lawmakers said the death of their colleagues is a huge blow to Parliament.
Federal lawmakers in the Senate and House of Representatives are mourning the death of 2 federal lawmakers. The late Deputy Minority Leader, Buba Jubril, died on March 30th, while late Senator Buka Mustafa died on April 4th. Both chambers devoted the entire plenary session to eulogizing the deceased lawmakers in their respective chambers.
When I think about him, I would summarize him as a person who was gentle of character, big as he was, very generous both in his words, in his nature, and in what he had, who was very kind, and who was the object, the total picture of humility.
I'm glad that we're all on the same page. And practically everybody has said that we have a responsibility towards this family.
We will sorely miss his wise counsel, his large heart, as attested to by all the honorable colleagues who have spoken, his solidarity and leadership.
In the upper chamber, a bouquet of flowers is placed on the seat where late Senator Buka Mustafa sat for the past 3 years during plenary sessions. The mood in the Senate chamber is somber. Nevertheless, lawmakers take turns to pour encomiums on the late Senator Buka Mustafa.
He has done so well. He has contributed so much on the committee, and of course on all the works, especially the oversight functions that we had.
It was one of those we had hoped that in time we will work together, even from the PDP, because the way he behaved, he was such a gentleman that loved Nigeria so much.
We have lost somebody with a lot of good ideas who has helped not only his constituency, this great country. All we can do is continue to pray for him to find our channel for us. He came to rest in perfect peace. Amen.
Late Senator Buka Mustafa is the fourth senator who has died in the 8th Assembly. As lawmakers mourn the death of their colleagues, the Senate has resolved to revisit an earlier resolution to immortalize late 7 senators. Linda Akibi, Channels Television News.
A federal high court sitting in Abuja has discharged 2 suspects who had been arraigned for alleged ties with Boko Haram due to lack of diligent prosecution. While discharging the defendants, Justice Binta Nyako observed that Ibrahim Ahmed had been in detention since 2013, while Mr. Sani Agungu had been detained since 2012 without the case proceeding to trial. The trial judge, who blamed it on the failure of the prosecution to call its witnesses, said the defendants could be rearranged whenever the prosecution was able to get its witnesses to attend court. She added that the defendants, although discharged, would be monitored and warned then not to associate with any person of questionable character. Mr. Ibrahim, who said in a statement that he was a security guard at the government house, Sokoto, was alleged to have been responsible for giving passage to Boko Haram members. The Nigerian Immigration Service and the Oba of Benin have agreed to collaborate towards tackling the menace of human trafficking and illegal migration in Edo State. This happened when the Edo State Comptroller of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Mr. Kayode Eniolonda, visited the Benin monarch at his palace in the Edo State capital. The paramount ruler also asked the Nigerian Immigration Service to check the influx of undocumented foreigners into the country and Edo State in particular.
Available data from the International Organization for Migration, IOM, indicates that Edo State has the highest percentage of Nigerian youths evacuated from Libya following their failed attempt to make it to Europe through the Mediterranean Sea. Worried about the social and security impacts of this trend and the bad image it creates for the state, the controller of the Nigerian Immigration Service, Edo State, Mr. Kayode Eniolonda, is at the palace of the Oba of Benin to seek royal partnership in dealing with the menace. Mr. Eniolonda, in his address to the Oba, expresses his resolve to key into initiatives already put in place by the state government to tackle the problem of human trafficking and illegal migration in the state.
It is my resolve, Your Royal Majesty, as the Controller of Immigration in Edo State, to key into the laudable project and to develop with adequate logistics, policies, and strategies that will stem this ugly trend and generally promote safe migration.
In his response, Omonoba Nedu Kwakolokolo Obaiwai II, the Oba of Benin, said the fight against human trafficking and illegal migration is a collective one.
We are doing our best to rehabilitate those that have been brought back. The parties will not relent in the effort to rehabilitate them, to assist the government, provide rehabilitation. For all of them, we pray that they themselves will see the need to settle back down in their home country and find things to do.
The visit ends with the assurance of greater collaboration from the Benin Traditional Institution in tackling the issue of human trafficking and illegal migration.
When the News at 10 returns, we take a look at the plight of a community in Delta State without potable water. That's in our community report. Let's join us here.